Sloopy-doop now. You better listen carefully around. There's been some strange things going on around here. Hello. I'm not actually a cowboy. I'm actually just a sort of Englishman in Berlin. Anyway, I've made a sick bass for you guys today. I know that you guys are going to like this one. I love it. I'm dropping this one on Patreon for the €1 tier and higher. That's tier with an IE, not EA. And let's just get straight into it, you know. Do you want it with drums? Probably. Oh, mercy, mercy. Do you want to open it up a bit? Nah, let's close it back down again. Oh, this one is called The Good Shepherd, and it will not lead you astray because it's wonderful. And I just had a pleasure making this one because I employed a new technique that I've not done before, which I just kind of came out with like randomly as I was just messing around. And there's lots going on in the modulation over there, but we'll try and avoid that. Now I've got to remember what I did, but let me bypass that one. Essentially, yes. So I managed to get a sine wave to have this lovely movement in by modulating the level on an LFO with a really, 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 really fast rate. You know, so normally it would be like, you know, around here or something, but when I put it to 0.006, you can right click and type it in. So just a sine wave, 0.006, modulated on the level from 0 to hero. It adds this, it's got this natural movement to it already, which is great. I really enjoyed that. And I actually wanted to mess around by playing with that speed. So I put a macro on and a macro number 1, and I put the value at 0.003, so it will go up ever so slightly. So it just gets slightly faster. And then you can hear what I've done is I've made an LFO2 to track to the macro. So I can turn that back on again now. And so it will start off low, that's the slow part, and then as it comes up in this shape, I increase the macro and it gets faster, which is sick. So I thought I could build like a little call and response kind of part to the sound again. But bless me, beg my pardon. It's been a long day. I've made 3 YouTube videos today. My computer's really slow at rendering them because I'm rendering the videos at like a higher quality, or trying to anyway. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but it just takes ages. So I tend to have like an hour or 2 spare without being able to use the computer. So I've just been going out for walks and stuff while my videos render. But yeah, anyway. Back to the matter at hand. Where am I in my life, in my head? I've lost all sense of what's going on. Right, so yes, that is the speed part done, which was just great to know that you could get that. Oh yes, another tip. So rather than doing just a saw down all the way from start to finish with like a sharp edges, what I've done is on both of the LFOs, I've sort of cut them a little bit shorter and then curved them back up again. And you can see over here as well, right at the end. Just so I don't have this like potential clicking happening. So I've tried to make the shapes like a little bit smoother so they kind of finish a bit earlier and come back down gently. So that's quite nice to keep the sound a little bit more professional sounding. Because now you don't hear any like clicks when it restarts and stuff like that, whereas before it kind of did. You had some weird vital click chaos going on. And the great thing about this is I've literally just used that sine wave and no other oscillators, and all the movement's going to come from that. But what I've done then is I've injected a little bit of white noise into the sine wave with the FM sample. And it's just such a small amount. I filtered the white noise here because you have a bit of the white noise directly from the generator and then a bit of the white noise which is inbuilt in the FM sample, right? And the white noise that's going through the filter, again, that's pretty much all the way at the top. Hear the cutoff, but you can still hear the high end of the white noise. That's the main thing. And because it's such a small amount of white noise, I've done it by the mouse there. But over here on the FM sample, where I've brought in the the white noise, I've just typed in 1, so it's like 1%, because otherwise it's going to be too much. It'd be chaos. But if you just have it at 1, then it's just like a bit of signal noise in the chain, which is really, really cool. And yeah, that sets yourself up. Then now you can do loads of filtering and distortion to get the tone into the sound. But this is where it gets really, really cool now, because of the way that I've distorted it. So the first thing I've done is I've put a phaser negative on the sine wave, and we're already going to have all of the movement going in the macro kind of on now, right? So the filter is off at the first half, and then the second half of the sound, the filter comes on all the way, and it moves up a little bit as well. So it goes from 163 up like to the right, and 15 units, whatever that is. Okay, and there's all tracking on the. I've tracked all of those things to the macro, and the macro is being automated by the LFO2. Because macros are not just for automating within your project. You can create macros for like the specific parameters that you want to control at the same time, and then you can put an LFO to that. So that's just sometimes it's easier to like get your head around routing the patch when you do it that way around, so yeah, that's why I've used the macro, because it kind of felt easier in my head to understand what was happening. So anyway, this is all wonderful so far. The attack has been turned up a bit and curved, and a bit of a more longer release as well to stop any other potential clicks. And then now I originally just distorted it a lot first to see what happens, but I found that putting another filter on everything before the distortion was even better. So I've got another filter here, and it's doing pretty much the same thing as the phaser negative was, but it's just a phaser positive, and it's also in the same sort of area, about 124. Also comes up to the right a little bit on the macro, and also the mix comes up as well, from being basically completely off to about 3/4 of the way up. And without that, we access a slightly lower pitched part to the growl by having that one on. So that was really, really key to getting the finished result. The sine fold mode now is the distortion which I've settled upon, which is wonderful because it really brings this sound to life. Sorry, I've just had to make some space on my camera because it ran out. I've been making so many videos recently. So anyway, as I was saying, the sine fold mode is the one I settled upon. I don't often use the filters on it, but in this case, it was excellent to get that extra separation between the first and second part of the sound. The drive is up quite high at 8.2 dB, and the cutoff is very, very low for the first half, 122. So it's just a sort of sub bass with a bit of harmonic, a bit of like low mid range, which is really, really nice. And then it's on a low pass filter, and then that just opens up on the macro again, And here is where I set my second macro to open, where I tracked that to the cutoff here. So if you want the sound to be open the whole time, that's how I actually originally created the patch in the beginning, then you can have that as well. It just doesn't sound quite as like contrasting, as having that real low pass going into the opened part first. It just sounds so cool with those drums. I kind of tempted to make like a track with it. It's dope. Anyway, that's that part, and I tried to keep the effects simple because it already sounds so sick at that point. And so I've just done a bit of chorusing, and here I've also used the chorus again on the macro, so it's actually off and it comes up. So it comes up to add that stereo, enhanced stereo sound on the increasing macro, in the second part of the bass, you know what I mean? And it just goes up 0.2, so that's probably going to go up to around 22% or something like 20%, something like that. I just toyed with the settings a little bit beforehand, but nothing really crazy there. Just a tiny bit of reverb, like 2%, with the low cut up to 1K, and then boosting the high end quite a lot, up like 6 or 7 dB, like from around 1,000, because it's kind of missing a lot there, and it just sounds excellent when you boost that. It brings all the life back into the sound, which I sort of filtered a lot of it out already. That's it, really. That's the Good Shepherd. That's it for today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. As I said, I think this one is quite a marvellous one. I think it might be my favourite Vital Bass I've ever made. It's definitely going to be in the top 5, I reckon. But that's the Good Shepherd, and that one is a Patreon exclusive if you want to have the preset. But if you want to just copy along what I've done, you'll probably get quite close, even if you don't get it all the way. It's still good fun to practice following along, but hopefully I explained it well enough. But I just really liked that concept of having the sine wave modulated super fast on the level to get this kind of, when you get this sweet spot, you get this kind of natural movement in it, which is dope. I've not done that ever before, so I wanted to share that with you guys today. Anyway, thank you very much, my Gs. Before I finish, if you're new to the channel, make sure you do like and subscribe, leave a comment. I'll try to reply to all of them when I can. And I've got loads of stuff on my website as well. I've got preset packs for Vital, for Phase Plant. I've got one-on-one coaching on there for music production, all electronic music genres, all softwares welcome. And I've got mastering services as well. I typically do mastering work usually every week. You can just email me info@artifactmusic.com if you want to have any of your tracks mastered by me. And I've also got a cool drum and bass record label as well called Artificial Music. But the artists on there are organic humans, and you can check that out on SoundCloud and our Instagram. Give us a follow if you like. Helps us a lot. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out. Much love.